The first reported haunting or paranormal activity that we know about here was in 1963. It was somewhere right in this area, just beyond these curtains. And you guys can come on into the auditorium here. The first spirit sighted here was Everett Miller, who was an usher here at the Opera House for 30 years. The owner at that time, Galen Finley, he's a big church guy. He's always been very active in the community, especially youth things. And he had about 20 teenagers in here after hours, and they asked him if they could come out here into the auditorium and play a little bit of tag or something. So they trooped on in here, and they quickly turned around and trooped right back out, and they said, okay, who do you have out there trying to scare us? And he's like, trying to scare you guys? What are you talking about? You know, it's not Halloween. They said, well, there's a guy dressed all in white standing back here by that post just waiting for us to come through the curtain. 18 of the youths described this individual, and it so happened that the description matched Everett Miller, who coincidentally used to live right across the street from Galen Finley when he was a kid, and of course had been an usher here and well known throughout the community for 30 years. Some of the other events that were going on, or paranormal activity that was going on when Galen Finley owned the Opera House here, was that the ladies' restroom would continually flush at times. They had it checked out. There was nothing wrong with that. You know, there was even like doubters who were in here at different times and would watch right through the open things while they were doing cleaning, just like they are now, and watch it flush itself. The stage over here is equipped to show movies. This is one of the earliest movie/opera theaters around. Like I said, it was built in 1892. In 1911, I believe, they put the very first silent movies in here, and is run nearly continuous to this day. In 1936, they changed it. You got a bigger screen, not this one, of course, but a larger screen, and they went to sound movies. That's also when they changed a few things upstairs, which I'll be showing you guys later. However, in Galen Finley's time, they would often have these curtains close themselves. Now, this was a time where they were only on hand winches, and they would close themselves just to the same length that the old silent screen was, which was about 15 feet, and stop right there during performances. He also, when he owned the theater at one point, and times were tough, he actually lived on the stage for 2 years. That was one of the second big sightings of a spirit here. Him and a friend of his, he had the stage decked out. You wouldn't even believe it unless you've seen the pictures. Kind of Arabian Nights styles. He had it like looking like a giant tent, very lavish, very interesting style. Him and a friend of his were sitting back there in what amounted to his living room, watching the television, and suddenly the temperature dropped way low. They look over, and coming from one side to the other of the stage, right behind them, is a lady in white. She proceeded right across the stage in a misty white form, in Victorian style looking clothes, long dress, and went up the steps into the catwalk area. There's a door back there, which they usually would be able to use to bring in large scenery and props, and they went right out it. Ran up the hill to his mom's place and wouldn't come back until she forced them to, because he left the doors open, the lights on. So they stayed up there for the night. If you guys just come this way, this was the first building in McConnelsville to actually have electricity, and it was one of the big marketing things that they did during the grand premiere that they had here. This is an orchestra pit. It actually used to be about 6 feet deeper, is my understanding, like this way, I think. But they've done some renovations. Of course, they went from a coal furnace, which I'll show you where it used to be, to a modern day furnace. There's not nearly as much need for an orchestra pit nowadays, you know. Over here in this area is actually one of the areas where a apparition has been sighted over about, I don't know, the last 5 or 6 months, at least 3 times. I've saw it. Our tech manager, Brent Shea, saw it, and at least one other organization or group has seen it. And it also slipped through here during the movie. We also had the curtain on the stage on this side actually pulled to one side right during the movie while everybody was sitting here. So if you guys decided to, this isn't a bad spot to, be checking things out. We have also had 2 sightings of an apparition up in the balcony. And the balcony area has had sounds of people running across it, people coming down the steps, things like that.